Addante. I'm a junior civil from Addison, Illinois.
Gregory, junior chemi from Belgrade, Minnesota.
I'm Carley Shumate. I'm a junior biomedical engineer from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
I'm Bryan Correll. I'm a junior computer engineering major from St. Louis, Missouri.
So I've served for the past 2 years on the executive committee of SGA. I've kind of seen how Mitch has done it. I've seen how Cody did it 2 years ago. They each have their own personality and did it their own little flavor. I think that I can take that experience and combine the two to do the job the best I possibly can. In those 2 years, we've completely tried to make the senators a lot more accountable for their actions. We went through the bylaws, tore them apart, and fixed them. We revamped our attendance policy. I mean, not a lot of people know that senator is no longer just a filler position. When you miss a meeting, miss 2 meetings, you're out. We've taken a lot of strides to make sure that the senators are accountable for what they're doing. And so I think I'll be able to continue that, because basically just pick it up right where they're leaving off with my 2 years experience. Also, I feel that from my time as an SA, and then I'm the president of SAA, I've built some good connections with the administration. Good basis with Tom and Pete and everyone there in academic affairs. And I think I'll be able to utilize that to make some new connections and help kind of start to bridge that gap between the administration and the student. It's going to start between that connection between the SGA president and the administration. If I make that gap, then I can connect my senators, and then I'll be able to connect the student body as a whole. Lastly, my goal is to try to make a personal connection with every student on campus. I feel like if every student feels personally connected to their senator and me, if we're out and involved in all student life, then they're going to feel a personal connection to SGA. And if they feel that personal connection, then they're going to have a better feeling towards it. So I think that'd improve the image of SGA greatly.
Good, Nick.
Brent?
So I think SGA does have a problem with its image on campus, and it really needs to boost its presence, right when freshmen get here initially. If you go to freshman hall and ask each freshman there, who's your SGA senator, you'll probably get 2 responses. I would say the first would be, I don't know, and the second would be, what is SGA? I know this because I went around and asked. And I think it's ridiculous that students don't even know what SGA is, what its functionality is. And so I guess the problem comes from where is SGA's first connection with the students, aside from sending out a t-shirt right before they come here, and that's the activities fair. They have 1 booth out of the 100 booths down there. And I mean, if this worked to get the message out about what SGA does, fine, but it doesn't seem to be working. So what I say the SGA should do is they should have a presentation at the freshman orientation where they can lay out exactly what SGA is, what its functions are, who they should contact if they have problems or complaints about what's going on during the year. And I think the best part of that would be you'd increase the quality of your freshman senators, because the people applying for those senator spots are going to know exactly what's expected of them. There's a lot of freshman senators that get in there and had some false expectation about what SGA is and don't voice their concerns once they get in Senate and sit there meeting after meeting not saying anything. So.
Carley?
I think that I will make a good SGA president because I've talked to presidents in the past and asked what their ideas are, what they would choose to improve, what they wish they could have done. And one of those is in the spring, improving how the budgeting works for the clubs. The clubs and activities, that's what the student body gets out of student government. We budget for their activities and make sure they get everything that they want out of SGA. And I have been on finance committee for 2 years. I've done the budget season twice, and I understand the policies and how that works, and I would like to make sure that the treasurer thoroughly understands the policies and how they can communicate that to the clubs so that budgeting is easy, because budgeting is not necessarily the most straightforward thing. And I would also like to communicate to the senators how important budgeting is and what they should look for in budgets, and so they know when their constituents ask them a question, they can answer informedly. And my second idea is much better senator training in the fall. Senators being well-trained, they should be able to know how Senate should be all on the same page. We should understand their rights as senators, the best ways to communicate with their constituents, and how they can get a response. And I'd like to meet with all of the senators and the class presidents one-on-one, get to know them face-to-face, because if they know they can communicate with me, then that will open a lot of communication there. And I'd like to hold the senators accountable by meeting with their constituents. And if they don't feel like they know their senators well enough, then we can fix that communication, because I would have a personal connection with the senator, and the senators can forge a personal connection with their constituents. So on the flip side of that, the constituents need to know that if they don't talk to their senators don't know what they want. So the lines of communication need to be open from both directions. And I think that these policies and making sure everything is clear will really help to do that. And if students will see these things happening, it'll really improve the image. And seeing Senate work cohesively will really improve the image with the administration as well.
SGA can make is, I think we need to create a more personal relationship with the student body. We need to make sure that they know what their representatives' names are, how to get a hold of them. They need to feel like they can approach their representatives of SGA with any sort of question or comment or feedback, whether it's a big thing, a little thing. And not only that, but they need to know that when they do voice their opinion to these representatives, that those representatives will take it back to the SGA meetings, to the administrators, talk to them, and make sure that when people voice their opinions to these representatives, that it will actually affect positive change in their lifestyle. So we need to do this by, I'd say, in residence halls, how do we get to know the residence hall staff and our RAs? Well, there's a poster with pictures, their positions, maybe a little bio, but we should do something similar for this with SGA. Their SGA representatives for each of those res halls should be on that res hall board so that they can get a hold of that person. The SGA executive board should be up in Munch Commons and outside the ARA so that people know who these members are, how we can get a hold of them, and how we can make our voice heard. In addition, we should harness the power of social media, such as Facebook. We could have an SGA Facebook page where members of SGA can pose questions or thoughts, things that have been bouncing back and forth between SGA administrators, SGA, and student body. And we can put these all in one place where students can see it on their own turf, on their own terms, when it's convenient for them, where it's convenient for them. And then they can also comment on that, and it can create sort of, people can see what other students think about each of these issues, and it can all work in real time through a fluid social media.